All right, so I kind of want to try to make this one short and sweet. And yes, I have my happy birthday balloons behind me because I'm a big fan of birthdays. And they make me happy. And so, but I do want to talk about fear. I was reading my Unlearn book earlier, and I was really trying to connect with everything that I was reading. And my birthday is on the 15th, and on the page 14, I was getting excited about what I was reading, and it said, "What you fear isn't the roadblock. Allowing the fear to keep you from moving is the real obstacle." So I sat with that for a little bit, and I really liked it. And then on page 15, which my birthday is August 15th, so those things that people look at as coincidences, I don't see them like that. I see them as little synchronicities and just meaningful, more than just a happenstance kind of thing. And I was really liking what I was reading on this page, so I'll read you my favorite part. "No one is fearless, but the bravest people I know are those who are most in tune with their fears and phobias and have decided not to let them get in the way of their happiness." And then I really resonated with that, and I loved it, and almost cried about it, but I held it together. And then on the very next page, I did cry because that was the exact quote that was highlighted on this page. So, just again, I take it as another meaningful leap, and fear is, imagine, what do they call it? I don't know. I'm not even going to think of the acronym for it right now, but fear can be very productive if we allow it to be. It can scare us into staying where we are, or it can motivate us to push through to the other side. Fear induces that fight or flight response, so it's something that we need. We don't want to be without fear, but we want to learn how to face it. And I used to talk about to my clients all the time. If anybody's ever played Super Mario, Super Nintendo is Mario, Super Mario World, right? Yeah. And they go in the haunted houses, and the ghosts that are all around the top, little bubble ghosts that are everywhere. There's a few that come at Mario or come at the player Luigi, and when they're running from it, it's coming towards them like. And yes, that's exactly what it looked like. And when Mario turns around and looks at the ghost, that's when it stops. And that's the only time it stops. And he has to continue to run as fast as possible and not trip over anything if he doesn't want to get caught by this ghost as he has his back turned to it. But it seems more than coincidental and more than interesting to me, that's how that's what fear looks like. As long as we're running from it, we're going to feel chased by it, and we're going to feel like it's hiding around every corner. And fear can be anything: fear of failure, fear of being left out, fear of not being loved, fear of success, fear of fucking anything. And so it's not until we, turn around and face our fears that we can actually really see what it actually looks like, or how big or small it really is. Because as long as we're ignoring something, we're letting our, other people's opinions are part of, increasing that fear within us. How they feel about what we're talking about or what we're doing in their own life. And, that kind of adds to whether or not we should continue to be scared of this thing based on what other people think of it. And so, it's not until we actually turn around. It kind of reminds me of, I'm thinking of Stewie right now. And fear is kind of like that, mom, mommy, mama, just fucking wants attention. And when you turn around and you're like, what? It's kind of like, all right, well, what was the big fucking deal? Like, what was I so scared of? For me, most of the time at least, because a lot of these fears are so illusionary. We create them based on overvaluing other things outside of our own desires and our own journey and our own soul purpose, because a lot of us don't really tune into our soul purpose. So we're just living based on what people are most gravitating towards and what is the most acceptable thing, that's going on. And, fear of being an outcast would prevent me from doing something like this, where I really truly believe that this will become a platform to help, I'm hoping, millions of people. That's at least my goal. And it never sounded or looked like Woke Anonymous, but ever since I knew I wanted to be a therapist, that was how I imagined myself reaching the world. I have big intentions for myself, very large and grand, and small minds fear big dreams. And I'm not here to pick on anybody or chastise you for not feeling free enough to think so big that you fucking scare the shit out of yourself and other people too. But that's the point. If it doesn't challenge us, it doesn't change us. If it doesn't scare us, it doesn't move us. It's impossible, I believe, to be fearless in doing something like this. So it's not as though I'm looking to be this blind, courageous, willful lion just, roaring at everybody and until they follow my lead. That's not my intention at all. But my intention is to hold hands with my fear and walk alongside of it so that I don't let it push me or pull me. I want to know where it's at all times. Keep your friends close, your enemies closer, right? I want to keep that bitch in my back pocket because I want to know what the fuck it's trying to tell me to do all the time. And when I deny that it's there and I try to cover it up with pride or, anything really, humor, that's a lot. People use humor a lot to cover up fear and uncomfortability. But if I'm doing that, then, I'm not really calling it like it is. I'm not being real with it. I'm, putting a Band-Aid over a bullet hole, essentially, because that's what these things are. We try to deny their existence and they just crave to be heard. Or just even acknowledged, and they'll continue to bother you until they do. Nothing ever goes away until it teaches us what we need to know. I believe that was Pema Chodron. Did I say that right? But yes, nothing ever goes away until it teaches us what we need to know. And even when it does teach us what we need to know, I am a true believer that we live life in a spiral. And once we know it at this point, or we think we know, or we know at least up until this experience with whatever wherewithal we have, we'll meet that again later on. So, and to me, that's the universal test of, did you really learn the lesson and implement it in your life in a way that is going to benefit you and the rest of humanity? Because if it's benefiting you, ultimately it should be benefiting the rest of humanity, unless, it's your motive or your intention with your behaviors or your thoughts are out of spite or with someone else's feelings in mind, because then we are practicing trying to have control or power over something that we don't have control over, which is other people's feelings. I can't make people feel any type of way. If I could, it would be as easy as saying, you feel better. Y'all know that ain't true. So it's not that easy. And so it's the same with ourselves. We can't just tell ourselves, well, I don't fucking care. Because we do. We wouldn't be mad if we didn't care. In order to be angry about something, you first have to care about it. I think Buddha says, in order for someone to make me angry, I must first have the anger inside of me. So if we practice transcending our fears into maps, look at what we're afraid of. It will give us an answer of where we want to go and what we want to be working on in order to level up, in order to not stay in our comfort zone. Most people that watch these would agree, or that don't watch these, whatever, most people would agree that your comfort zone will kill you. And, I'm a big proponent in getting comfortable being uncomfortable, because that means that you're constantly growing. That, they don't call it growing pains for nothing. And so when we fear, the uncomfortability of a situation, we're not focused on the benefit of the situation. Because there's going to be both things that come out of a situation, shit and great shit. And it depends what we focus on more, as opposed that determines how we're going to feel about what we're doing or what we're choosing to do in this situation. So if you're forcing yourself to be somewhere where you're not ready to be, ask yourself what you're afraid of, or what you want to, or what you need, really. I hate to use that word need, because I believe that if we put the power in our choice and change need to want, it just kind of gives us a little more of an idea that we are powerful with our intention, if that made any sense. All right, well, I managed to ramble about this for longer than I thought I would, so shine the light on your shadows. You are the light. Your shadow will always be there, but shine the light on that shit, man. See what's fucking behind you. See what we're so afraid of. Ask yourself, what is it really that you're most afraid of? And go with that question. Continue to ask. Don't ask why. Ask what. Why is such a never-ending, inconclusive question. There will always be a why, but what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do in order to not remain stagnant or to grow? What are you going to do in order to grow?